Okay, so guys, what I was talking about was this one here. I do apologize about this, but just some technical difficulties here. So I want you guys to be able to actually sketch this graph. Now, you have been given a empty grid, all right? So the first step, really, what I would like you to do is come up with some points for this, all right? And I think this is a really good way to kind of start things off. So what you're going to do is create a small table. All right, that's the easiest way to do this. Put an X and Y. Okay. Now, ideally, you want to take about a good 4 to 5 points to get like a nice shape of the graph. So I usually say like go from -2 to about maybe 3 or 4, just to give you an idea. So here, I'm going to go -2. -1, 0, 1, and 2. Maybe 3 just for the hell of it. Now, what you're going to notice is all you're doing is you're just substituting x where in this equation. Okay? So for the I'll actually work backwards so you can kind of see what's happening. So that's going to be 2 cubed, 2 squared, 2 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 0, 2 to the power of -1, and -2. Just going to put this as 2x. That means if I get y, 2 to the power of 3 is 8. That's 4. That's 2. Any number to the power of 0 is 1. Then you got not -2, sorry. 1 over 2 and 1 over 4. Now, you guys are allowed graphics calculator for this. So you can actually create this table in a graphics calculator as well. And I'll show you guys how to do this. All right, if you have a graphics calculator, this video, I'll upload it later on to the channel, and then you guys can just check it out from there. Basically, you go into menu, and you click on this thing called table, and you just put 2 to the power of x. So 2 to the power of x, and you always use the x underneath the red button, which is alpha, and then you press enter. Now, notice how it says, can you guys see that, where it says set? Which is F5. If you press that, it says start is 1 and end is 5. Now, if you look at my table here, I've actually put start as -2 and the end as +3. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put -2 and +3. And then step 1 means that all of your x values is increasing by 1. And then if I press my table, there's my table. Remember that 0.25 is actually a quarter, and then 0.5 is a half, and then you got 1, 2, 4, and 8. Okay? Now, whenever you're in trouble, if you don't know what the question's actually asking you, like if they ask you to sketch a graph or something like that, always make a little table like this, and then once you get the table, then it just plots the points and just draw them up together. Okay? So, the next step is drawing it. Now, I'm going to have to pass some rulers out, so give me a second. Now, this particular graph is an exponential graph, which means it's going to really climb up quite steeply. Now, I know I've given you guys like a full page there, but I'm going to ask you guys just to use like maybe a half page, all right? Now, just bear with me, guys, because my systems here are like a bit funk. No, that's not going to work. Give me a second. Okay, I just want to split the page up into 2, just because we want to use that space that we've actually got. What you can do is, how much numbers have you guys got? 8. So you want to create an x and y axis, all right? I would actually say just go like maybe, that's not right. Okay, it's really hard for me to draw on this, but I hope you guys can actually get a much better one. I'm hoping that you can do like something like this. All right, in your paper. I might actually even go a bit lower. Okay? Now, the next thing is labeling the axes. All right? So you've got x-axis there. You've got y-axis there. Now just make sure, guys, this is there's at least about 8 squares there, because one of our y values is 8 there. So once you do that, the next thing is just make sure you number each of those boxes. But when I say the boxes, I'm going to zoom in a bit so you guys can see what's happening here. Make sure you don't do this. Put this as 1, put this as 2. Do not do this. This is not correct. Okay? What you should be doing is on the edge of those boxes, not in the middle of the boxes. So that's 1, 2, 3. In the middle there's 0. That's -1, -2. And same with the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay? Once you do that, now ideally you guys want to have a pencil for this situation. Don't try and do this in pen, please, because you will make a mistake. And now I meant in your exam. In your exam, make sure you use a pencil to actually sketch it first. Make sure you've done everything and then go over it with a pen. Okay? Because if you do stuff in pencil, sometimes they get fussy with the marking, like they won't like remark stuff. There's little things like that. All right, so use a pencil to actually sketch it. But anyway, going to this, do the big points first. All right, so right now the first point I'm going to use is 3, 8. So 3, 8 is there. And then 2, 4, which is there. 1, 2, 0, 1. Now obviously I'm going to struggle. I mean, I can do half, I can do quarter, but anything beyond that is going to be actually quite challenging for me to draw that. Okay? So what I've done is I've only used 6 points. That's absolutely fine. Now I need to sketch it. So for sketching it, it's going to look something, oh, wow. Try a different color there. It's going to look something like this. Okay, please do not use a rainbow colored pen in your exam, but you get the idea. All right? So drawing that graph right there, must have missed a few steps there, guys, so do apologize about it, but I'm going to try and do this one again. Can I get you guys in that bottom page to try and draw a graph for me for this equation here? So y is equal to 3x. So step 1, I want you guys to create a table. Okay, x and y like this. And then chuck in -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and maybe 3. Okay, and then I would like you guys to draw me a graph for that. Guys, I'm just going to do the table part just to see that you're doing the right things. So this is 3 to the power of x. So what I'm going to do is, I should have really put this as 3 to the power of x like this. Then I've got 3 to the power of -2, 3 to the power of -1, 3 to the power of 0, 3 to the power of 1. Now, I know that off the top of your head, you might be like, I don't know what the hell 3 to the power of -2 is. But what you do is you just go 3 squared and then go 1 divided by that. All right, so if you look at 3 to the power of 3, that's 27. 3 squared is 9. 3 to the power of 1 is 3. 1. And then 3 to the power of -1 is just 1 divided by 3. And then 1 divided by 9. So if you were to go to 3 to the power of -3, it'll be 1 over 27. Okay, but you don't really need 1 over 27, guys, because that number is so tiny. All right, you only want those really big numbers, and the important part is like where it cuts the y-axis. Okay, have you guys drawn it? Do you guys want me to draw it? Okay, let me just draw the x and y axis. Guys, you don't have to write every number. You could also do things like this, where you could have a little break. All right, in fact, I actually find that a little bit easier, because then I go every 5 could be written like this as well. Okay, so I'm hoping this is what you guys did. When it is 3, when it's x is 0, y is 1. When x is 1, y is 3. When x is 2, y is 9. Now what about when x equals to 3, 27? You think I'm going to draw it? Nah, it's too far, right? Because my y-axis is only going up to 10. If your y-axis goes up to, like, say 50, then you got to make sure that 27 is actually in there. But right now, my y-axis is only going up to 10. And on the other side, with -1, -1/3 is there. Sorry, 1/3 is there. And then 1/9 is there. Now, this is the real important part, guys. Your graph can never touch the x-axis. All right? Which means, I know when you're trying to draw it, you're kind of going, yep, got it right. But please make sure that that colorful line is not touching that x-axis, because it's called an asymptote. All right? It will never touch that x-axis. And I end up usually putting like a couple of little arrows to show that this just keeps on carrying on. Okay, now that was y to the power of 3x. Okay, ready for the next one? Okay, the next one, what I'd like you to do is this one here. Again, this time I actually want to go back. I want you guys to go back to that first diagram that you drew when it was y equals to 2x. But this time, I would like you to do this for me. 2x plus 3. So, if you're going to write this as a table, just watch what happens with the table. I'm going to do one value for you guys, and then you guys could actually try and do the rest. So I've got -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And then the numbers that I'm dealing with is 2x plus 3. So I know that 2 to the power of 3 is 8. So it's 8 plus 3, 4 plus 3, 2 plus 3, 1 plus 3. I think that was a half, a quarter. So my numbers are going to be 11, 7, 5, 4, 3.5, and 3.25. Does that make sense what I've done there, folks?
Yes.
What's your question? So these numbers here that I got, these numbers, they're from the first diagram that I did at the top. So see those numbers? Basically what I've done is I've just put those numbers and then I've just added 3 to it. So I would like you guys to draw this diagram in this one that we did first. Okay, and I want you guys to see what the difference is. Or if you think you've got enough room, then you can actually draw me another table, another grid, and actually work through from there. So again, the usual drill. Let's see. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. 5. 10. Okay, so with this one, nothing changes. Same kind of plotting. So at 3, it's going to be at 11. It's going to be slightly outside of my range there. At 2, it's going to be 7. At 1, it's going to be 5. At 0, it's going to be 4. At -1, it's going to be 3.5. 3.25, and so on. So my graph here should look like this. Okay, that's what I'm looking for, guys. But again, if you want to get the full merit grade for this one, you've got to make sure that that kind of extends out a little bit, and also make sure that this point here is correct. It has to cut the y-axis at the right point. Okay? Now also, another thing to notice is this thing right here. See how this +3 at the end? This is usually known as translated. So we can say this is translated 3 units up. Because it's +3, your entire graph has actually moved up by 3. And another version is like, if say, for example, if it was -2, let's say the equation was y equals 2x minus 2 like this, then we can say that the graph has translated 2 units down because it's negative. Is that all right? Okay, next question I want you guys to try and draw is this one here. What would this one look like? Y equals 2 to the power of x minus 2. Okay, I'm actually going to let you guys do this one on your own. So come up with your own table. Just be careful. The -2 is not like, what I want to show you guys is that this thing is not the same as this green thing here. It's not the same. Okay, so here's another hint for you. That x minus 2 is in the power. That's the clue I'm going to give you guys. Have a go. You're going to make some mistakes. It's all right. And we'll actually work through from it. That's how the table's going to look like. But in reality, you already know, as I said to you guys, you already know how to kind of mess around with this. Because if we put -2, 0, 1, sorry, skipped a couple. -1, 0, 1, 2, right? What happens is this x to the power of -2, it actually shifts the whole graph right side by 2. Because you see what happens if I put 2 to the power of 2 minus 2 is 0. This is 2 to the power of -1, 2 to the power of -2, -3, -4. So when it's 3, it's 2 to the power of 1. When it's 4, it's 2 squared. So what's happened is your entire graph has actually shifted 2 units. So half, quarter, 1/8, 1/16. Now I'm not going to sit there drawing you 1/8, 1/16. All I'm going to do is I'm going to get my axes. All right, and when it's 4, it's at 4, because that's 5, and is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Let's do that one again. That's not 5, that's 5. So 4, 4 is there. 3, 2 is here. 2, 1 is here. 1.5. And then it gets tinier and tinier. Okay? So when it's 5, it's going to be at 8. So if you were to draw this graph, it's going to look like this. Now there should be no difference between the shape of this graph and the very first graph you drew. The only difference is that this graph here, and it's because of this number right there. Because of that -2, it's translated 2 units to the right. If it was a +2, so say if it was like 2x plus 2, then this +2 means it's translated 2 units left. Is that all right? So I'm going to give you guys some questions now, and I don't want you to draw the graphs. I just want you to write down what the equation is going to be when it's translated left, right, up, down, whatever it is, all right? I'm going to mix it up for you guys. Okay? So, this is the first equation, y equals to 2x. What would the equation be? I'm not even going to write translated because I'm just too lazy at the moment. If it's up 2 units, what would it look like if it moves right 3 units? What would it look like if it goes down 4 units? And D, left 5 units. What's the equations of these graphs are going to look like? Do you want me to do the first one for you guys so that you guys, just this batch, and then the next one you can do by yourself? Okay. You're going to take this down because I'm going to rub this out very shortly. So if it's 2 units up, then you've got, sorry, that should have been 2x right there, not like this. So that's 2x plus 2. If it's 3 units to the right, it's going to look 2x minus 3. If it's down 4 units, it's going to look 2x minus 4. And if it's left 5 units, it's going to look like this. Is that okay? Can I move on? As usual, guys, this notes is actually available for you online, all right, in your OneNote, like in that OneNote that I shared in Google Classroom. So you can always pull it up later and have a look at it as well. Okay, you ready for the next lot of questions? So the equation is going to be y equals 3 to the power of x. And this is what I'd like you guys to do. Okay, what would the 4 new equations be? You guys try it out. Now, the only thing I want to ask you guys is please be careful of how you write, I was going to say where you write those numbers, all right? Because if you put it in the power, the number in the power, that means it's moving left or right. But if you put the number outside, it's actually going up or down. Okay, really important to know that one. All right, next one is this. What if you have this equation here, but this time you're going to do 2 of them. You're going to move up 2 and right 3 units, and then down 3 units, left 1 unit. What would this look like? And of course, I'm going to give you guys one more tricky one. How do you mean? It doesn't matter because left or right, you can only change the power, right? Yeah, that's. I'm going to give you one more, but this time I'm going to put a letter. Okay, try those 3 now. So the first one says, I want to move it 3 units to the right. So that means it's going to look like this. Choose a different color. So I've got y equals 5 to the power of x minus 3. And then it's being shifted up by 2. So the plus 2 is going to be outside. All right, next one. Y equals 5 to the power of x. 1 unit to the left. So that's plus 1. Down 3 units, so that's minus 3. And the next one, it says p units to the left, so this is going to be x plus p, and then it's moving up by q units, so plus q. All right. Now there's only one other thing that I want to show you guys is like literally it'll take me like two 2 seconds to actually show you guys this, but it's a good thing to actually keep in mind, all right? So has anybody got any questions with these three? No, we're good? Okay. So sometimes they also do this. So if they have y to the power of 5x, they might ask you a question like this. What would the equation be if this is reflected on x-axis and reflected on y-axis? All right? Now the only thing you need to know about this, and trust me, this actually works, guys, is when you want to reflect it on the x-axis, you write the equation as is. I keep doing that, 5 to the power of x. All right. If it is reflected on the y-axis, then all you have to do is this. And if it's reflected on the x-axis, all you got to do is this. That's it. Okay, guys, that's basically it. I'll actually upload this very shortly so you guys can see it. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you.